Check, 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 check.
To try to get the presenter view of.
Google Docs.
Yeah.
Google Docs.
Because I know it comes up like.
Richard is going to this too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, media and then Marie is chair.
Are we ready?
We're ready. Everybody, thank you. You want to?
Yeah.
1 second, Tom.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here because this is a big deal. We have very important leaders of the Screen Actors Guild here who've come up all the way from Nashville and battled that traffic to share some things going on there about policies, developments, potential help for students, that kind of thing. We have lots of students from the College of Media and Entertainment and College of Liberal Arts. We're thrilled you're here. We have several classes here. We have 4 or 5 different majors here. So first of all, let me introduce our speakers today. Carla Cristina Contreras, President, Nashville Local, member. Michael Montgomery, former President, Nashville Local, member. Quandra Johnson, Business Representative, Nashville Local staff. And on Zoom, we have Richard Van Sickle, Executive Sickle. I had that right the first time, and then I just messed it up. Executive Director, Nashville Local. So Richard wanted to be here in person, but he has COVID, so we're very grateful that he is Zooming in today. He's not Zooming in now? Okay, we couldn't get it. Okay, all right.
He decided that he just couldn't do it the last minute.
So help me give our very important guest a round of applause for coming to speak to you all today. And I will turn it over to Professor Tom Neff, who will then... Okay. Oh, okay.
Group shot later before
Yeah. And thank you all for coming.
Beverly, thank you.
Nice to see everybody. Y'all rock.
Hey, thanks for coming, guys. This was technically part of my media management class. I teach kind of the producing media management side of the business, and but SAG is an area that stretches into all these different departments. So I thought it would be great to first introduce them all as a resource for you all, and that we need to use SAG more often and get more involved with them, whether in using actors or other resources that they have, and also to learn a little bit more about, what is a guild and what they do and so forth. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to
Our president,
You wanted us to give a little background? Sure. Okay, so I go by all three names. In fact, it's the name of my production company, All Three Names, Please. So it's Carla Cristina Contreras. I have been a SAG-AFTRA member since way before you were born in 1985. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I was born and raised into the business. I started at the age of 3 doing commercials. And my father was behind the camera. He worked for 50 years as a grip, dolly grip, crab dolly, key grip, crane operator, best boy. He was the first Hispanic grip in Hollywood. And so whenever I was not in school, I was on set with my father. I could not get enough. And I just, I wanted to be in front of that camera. But I'm going to say this. I wished that I had had a bigger vision to do things behind the camera as well. And now that I'm much older, I'm also an intimacy coordinator. So, and that has broadened my horizons in different ways. So I am the current president. I became president this past summer. My dear friend right here, I actually call him my union husband. He is our past president. I'll let you continue from there. Oh, and by the way, I still act. We are volunteers for the union. We don't get paid for what we do. We just spread the gospel of SAG-AFTRA because it is a good thing. And this is where the talent lives, is within our union.
Hi, guys. And I had just the opposite story of her. I grew up in Appalachia, in a town of 1,000 people, and I wasn't thinking much about this, and one night I was watching a Western on TV, and my uncle, who lived in the big city of Richmond, was up visiting, and he said, "Wow, you like cowboy stuff?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I would love to be in the Old West sometime." I was a little kid, and he said, "These guys are actors, right? They make these TV shows, and you could be an actor and play a cowboy in a movie." And that never left my mind. And I did a couple plays in high school and then went to college at Virginia Tech. Wandered into the theater department one day and took an intro class, and they said, "Wow, would you like to work on stage crew for this show? Because we really need people." And I did, and the next thing I knew, somebody said, "Would you be in my directing class, Dean?" And then that was that. I just started doing. Then they said, "Oh, you could never really be an actor," and the professor that told me that then proceeded to cast me in every one of his shows for the next 4 years. And I somehow got to be an actor, so I got to live the dream. I've done film, TV, lots of theater, all over the country. And in fact, I just got a foreign residual check yesterday for all the stuff that I've been in that's currently running in Europe. And the biggest portion of that was $4.42 from people watching Walk the Line in Switzerland. I think the check totaled $11 and something like that, but yay, union. I'm still getting paid for that. And one of the other weird things about our local here, we're here as actors today, but our local is split right down the middle. We also represent singers and recording artists. So about half of us are on the act in front of the camera. The other half are behind the microphone. And you may have heard of one of our recording artist members, Taylor Swift. Yeah, you've heard of her, right? And Garth and Reba and Tim and Faith and Blake and all those guys. They belong to the Nashville local here. So, and we do have one. Jennifer Lawrence is also a member of our local because she's from Kentucky. And when she did a film called Winter's Bone several years ago, which is a really good movie, if you have not seen it, you should. And she joined the local here, and she's still a member. So,
Smart girl.
So what?
I actually forgot what I was going to say. It happens. It'll come back to me. Quandra?
Yeah, I'm not going to take the mic because it'll make me more nervous. So, I'm Quandra Johnson. I am the business rep for the Nashville local. I'm not an actor like these guys. I production. I went to school in South Carolina, then I did my MFA at Lipscomb, and I decided I wanted to be more on the business side and behind the scenes, so I went and got my master's in entertainment business, and this job locked up, and I've been here almost 2 years now, and it's been great working with Carla, Christina, and Mike, and just our whole board, our leadership, and first of all, just thank you guys for letting us be here today.
And we're so happy she's with us.
Very much so.
Really helped out.
Very much so. She's the one that you'll probably interact with if you use one of our contracts.
Because she is the contract specialist.
Yep. You want me to go into the, okay. Go for it.
Yep.
All right. So we're just gonna give you a quick overview of the national local.
Because everybody loves the PowerPoint.
Yeah. So we, all right, you guys know what SAG-AFTRA stands for, first of all?
No.
No? All right. So SAG-AFTRA stands for the Screen Actors Guild of America, Federation of Television and Radio Artists. That's a lot to say. So we have 25 local offices around the country, and Nashville local office is located on Music Road. And like Mike was saying, that we represent over, the Nashville local has over 800 actors and 700 recording artists.
And that might be my car.
And just to let you guys know that we do represent all of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Can everyone hear her in the back?
All right, cool. All right, like I said, Richard Van Sickle is our National Executive Director. Josh Reese is our Senior Business Representative for Music. Heather Smalley is our Office Manager, and I am the Business Representative, and Carla Christina is our Local President. So, SAG-AFTRA members, they're made up of actor, performers, background actors, broadcast news, broadcast entertainment, dancers, recording artists, singers, stunt performers, and voiceover artists. And this is just some of the benefits that our members do get when you are eligible and do join the SAG-AFTRA. You get health plan, you get pension, retirement, and then access to all of this. And then our contracts, we have audiobooks, commercials, corporate educational, interactive, which is like video games, music videos, new media, news and broadcast, podcast, which is new, sound recording, TV, theatrical, and voiceover. And starting this year, we are officially able to sign student films, short projects, and new media deferrable out of our Nashville office. So you don't have to go through LA, it's a quicker process, it's more streamlined, and it's easier to deal with.
And if you have questions, write them down so that you can ask us after.
Alright, so main reason we're here, the student project agreement. Maximum budget of $35,000, maximum runtime of 35 minutes, salaries are deferrable, so that means that they're negotiable, and that you don't have to pay upfront, but if you do go outside of the realm of student project, that means that all money will be due to our members. And it satisfies course requirements and filmed and recorded entirely in the U.S. It's for classrooms, film festivals, demo purposes, and Academy Award consideration. And the great thing about this is that you have the opportunity to work with our members to make your student films more professional. Because our members, they are trained professionals. They don't know how to hit their marks. They don't know about their meals. They don't know about all the things that are supposed to be going right on the set to make you a better producer, filmmaker, and everything. can email us at nashville@sagafter.org, or you can call us. And I'm gonna hand it back over to Carla, Christina, and Mike.
Okay. Do you want to come up? Can we have that other chair? Maybe Mike and I can sit. Or we have one. Okay. Okay. Mike and I have been a tag team for a very, very long time. So bring on the questions. Anything. Ask us anything. That's a very bright light.
So we're doing a short film in about a week and a half, starting on March 2nd, and I already signed the low-budget contract form.
We have a SAG actor in the production.
Awesome.
Awesome. Good for you.
I signed the micro-budget form. Is there any other forms that we need to sign other than getting our SAG actor to sign the release form that I was given?
Nope, just a release form. Like you said, our micro budget project agreement is one of our easiest agreements. It's super quick. It takes about 15 minutes to do, and then if there's no problems, you're instantly granted access to start your production. And like you said, you just get your actors to fill out the release forms, and it's just more. The micro budget is more for you learning. That's what it's mainly for. So like the student film agreement and the short project, they're a step above the micro. So like if you want to kind of get your feet wet, I would start with the micro budget,
And
which
that-
is 20,000 or less.
Okay.
Wow, it is so great to have somebody that can answer that question. That's the first time I've ever been to one of these where we've had somebody that can just answer that question.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer like any summer internships in order to be part of this kind of program by any chance?
Not at the moment. I know Richard is talking about starting that back. It got shut down with COVID, so that they're in the process of working on that. So I have my card. You saw the email, so just keep in touch.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that one of the things that I did forget to mention, you all were familiar with the strike, obviously. I was on the negotiating committee out in Los Angeles. There were 44 of us. Yeah, I lived in, it wasn't terribly bad. I was in Beverly Hills. You got to go to that hotel, yeah. And I will say it changed my life. But the reason why I bring it up is I had asked questions about how many staff members we have across the country, and our staff members rule. I mean, we could not do what we do without our staff members. Yeah. And so I had learned that there was over 600, under 700 across the union, across the country. And I got to meet the head of organizing, there were staff members who ran the strike, which was really interesting because that was quite a logistic, I don't want to say nightmare because it was really organized. But anyway, so yeah, it's good to do an internship. That would be great.
I saw that you said that you started like along with the student film thing. You're doing a short film contract. What are the qualifications for that? Like versus for micro budget or the student film.
Short project is going to be 50,000 or under. Is more in depth. So if you're just starting, you don't want to have to like go through like the difficulties of all of the paperwork and stuff that you have to do with the short project. I would start with the micro or student first before you get into those levels. Yeah.
Yeah, we had somebody from the Nashville Film Commission come down here a few months ago, and they showed us an awesome registry of locations that were available, and I was wondering if there's some kind of registry of available SAG actors that, like, in an area that would be, that we could, like, start casting from if we wanted to do that. I don't know if that exists.
We actually, I'm gonna let Carla.
No, go
Christina,
ahead.
We actually have been working on that. It's a long process, but if you send us your information, like the cast notice and stuff, we can send that out to our members. but as of right now, we currently don't have that database, but you're working on one, right?
Oh, Mike and I put in the olden days when it was paper and we had headshots and resumes. We started with the very first film school here, which was Watkins, back in the 90s. And Mike and I, like I said, we've been a tag team for years. We put that together. We were just talking to one of your professors, Allie Sultan. She was talking about an MFA program that is being created and that they will be using SAG-AFTRA members. When we talk about the fact that SAG-AFTRA members are professionals, here's one of the reasons. You cannot just walk into this union and join. You have to work. You have to earn it. It's a catch-22. That's Hollywood. Hollywood is filled with catch-22s left and right, front and center, and back behind you. So our members are going to help your productions move along quickly because each member knows what to do. So I just want to kind of like drive that point because yes, there's going to be talented non-union, but there also is a lot of non-union who've never been on a set. And so we understand the process. I walked on a non-union set as an intimacy coordinator, and I could not get over the disarray and how noisy it was. In Hollywood, sets are very quiet. People walk around very quietly and very purposefully. So, and even here too, we're Hollywood of the South in a way. So just driving that point. Next question.
How much overlap or just collaboration is there with like the screen, or is the director's Google?
Do you want to answer that one?
Not that much. They are their own entity, as are, there's also a union for cinematographers, and everybody's got their own little niche. And the writers were on strike with us. They started, and then we joined them, and then they got a deal. And the directors had gone ahead and gotten a deal before all of us. And then the word came out after they saw what the writers got, and they saw what we were likely to get. They were going, "Damn, we shouldn't have done that. Maybe we could have gotten something a little bit better." But we do support each other. But our guys talk. Our leadership talks to their leadership, but as far as overlap and hang out and
there's a tiny bit that I learned during negotiations that there is something called favored nations. And so, like Mike just mentioned, there are certain things that we broke what is it they called it? I don't want to say we broke the mold, but the AMPTP only wanted to give us a 5% raise, and that's what they had given the other ones. And we were like, no, 5% is not it. We don't earn as much as, so we broke through their, I can't think of the word. So there is a slight, when it comes to negotiations, there is a slight overlap. And then of course, as we're unions, so we do work together and make sure that things are going swimmingly.
If we're out on strike, they don't work either on one of our projects, on something that's has SAG-AFTRA. And if they're on strike, we don't work on that picture if they're hiring a non-union director for it and trying to do it under our contract. We won't work on that. So we support each other that way.
Yeah, part of what I projected up here, kind of behind you guys, this is your student, the SAG student. And it's not that difficult to fill out. And, you have to do a budget and have your script and you have to kind of have it together. And, but I encourage you to kind of get involved with them and submit it. And,
you've utilized our contracts with,
Pardon?
you have an award-winning film that you've
Yes.
utilized our contracts.
Yeah, we did a film. In fact, it was kind of, we used a lot of students, Contradictory Couple, and I submitted the budget. And of course, for you guys, the budget is going to be zero. But it's not going to be that. So what you do is you say, okay, a camera is going to be, if if you did a C300 or something like that, a camera like that is $250 a day or whatever it is, X number of days, and that's what the budget would be, and you just put deferred by it. And so you have a budget, but it's a deferred budget, and there's a difference. Your only budget that won't be deferred is food. That's gonna be a hard budget for you guys, but most everything else is deferred, right? So when you fill out your budget and you just put, okay, camera would be this, if you were doing it in the industry, camera would be this, sound would be this, your DP is gonna be this, and so forth, and that's what you would have to pay. So your budget might be $25,000, it has to be under the 30,000, whatever it is. But 28,000 or 29,000 might be deferred. So that's kind of how you submit it. That's what we did with Contradictory Couple. And we got two great actors because, they're absolutely right. You have actors and then you have SAG actors, and they're better. And what do you see on the screen, right? You see your kind of photography and your location and your actor. And, Capra said it's, 20% script or 20% everything else and 80% actor. So, your talent is really, really important. And, but in response to that, you got to be together. You can't come and say, okay, we're going to have the actors there at 9 a.m. and your first shot is at noon. That doesn't work. And so, you have to be very buttoned up. Just like they say, they expect a set to be quiet. They don't expect a lot of disorganization. Everybody needs to be there on time. And it's a 10-hour day, not a 12-hour day. There's supposed to be lunch. If you keep them over, you have to know the union rules and feed them and so forth. And actors, they are to be protected, because they're very vulnerable. They give of themselves to a production. They're very open. They're not just puppets where you go out and say, okay, do your line and, spill your life out to us. And so you have to protect the actor. And that's very important. That's beyond the paperwork. But most important is that, that you just need to be very prepared. That means having call sheets and know that everybody's going, everybody knows what they're doing, that when the actor shows up on the set, you're ready to go, not a half hour or 45 minutes or an hour and a half from then. And nothing wrong with saying, getting there at 9 o'clock and saying the actors show up at noon. Well, better for you to wait than for them to wait. And and also it becomes a rep thing, The actor says, well, don't work with MTSU because, we're disorganized and don't know what they're doing.
And particularly in a student film context because,
Yes.
We are donating our time, so.
But don't be
Just
respectful.
respect.
Yeah, but don't be afraid of us. I mean, we're humans. We're just like you. My father always used to say, and let me tell you, when I was 11, I was on the set of The Cowboys, John Wayne, and my father would say, they all put their pants on the same way we do. But yes, be respectful to all humans. So, but actors, I mean, we do come in, we're worried, our lines, when's it going to happen? What am I preparing for that day? What kind of character have you created for us to recreate for you? And then just keeping an open line of communication, even if timing gets pushed and so forth. Otherwise, and if we are waiting, because it does happen, just have a place for us to wait quietly so that we can stay within, because every actor comes to the table with a different process. Not all of us have been trained the same. Some of us have no training, or, it's like Barbara Streisand. She's, not formal training. They may have done a lot of theater. Theater is different than film. But theater background is fantastic. I was raised in Hollywood, so I didn't have so much theater. Mike had much more theater. You'll get a variance across the board with different actors.
And I will give you one tip as far as waiting on set and everything. This is a truism. Over your next years, just think about this and see if I'm right about this. One of the first questions an actor will ask you when he comes to the set is, where's craft services? Because we want the food. And if things are going, if you're a little bit behind, make sure the food is out, because when the actor gets there and you get to, there may be a little bit of a delay, and then they will go, well, okay, well, where's craft services? It's right over there. And you'll be good. You just bought yourself 45 minutes right there.
Easily. And then the other thing is there are some actors who won't eat until maybe afterwards. I'm one of those. So I want to know that there's something for me to drink, and I'll be honest, I worked on the show Nashville. Nobody ever showed me craft services. It was like, I didn't even know where it was. I mean, we were on location that day, but I'm like, I sat in my dressing room and they brought me water, but it was like, I wonder where the craft services is. That kept going through my head.
One thing of advice that I would say is that right now, while you're in school, use your time wisely. Go to our website, look at all of our agreements, start learning those rules, when meal periods are, overtime, all that stuff is gonna make you a better filmmaker, a better producer. Even if you're an actor, just knowing that background is gonna make you more well-rounded. And then learn things about directors, learn things about cinematographers. If you can make yourself more well-rounded, your actors are gonna want to work with you more, because you can tell them, hey, I know what is going on. You can kind of guide them on the process and stuff, and they're gonna be more willing to work for you and work with you and trust you.
One other thing I think is invaluable. When you get out of here, okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to work somewhere, you're going to end up as a PA on a set, right? That's one of your first jobs. If you have made a couple of these films and you filled out some of this paperwork that we have going now, you're going to be on a film someday and you're going to be a PA and somebody's going to be making that movie and they're going to go, God, the union paperwork, does anybody here know anything about union paperwork? You do, and you say, I do, and you just moved a step up on the hierarchy of what happens on a film set. We have a friend right now, she works for Will Trent. She's on Will Trent. She's getting ready to make a producer's assistant. She's getting ready to make one of her own films now, and that is what shot her right up the scale on the set, was that she knew about the union paperwork and she knew how to do it. So everybody started coming to her to do the union paperwork. And plus, people will pay you to do that sometimes.
Emily too. Emily Van Brocklin.
Right. If somebody else is going, I don't know what to do with the union paperwork, say, I'll pay you $50 if you'll do this. You go, great. You should make $50. So, it's the more you know, the better off you are, the more well-rounded, and you're not just in your little niche, know a little bit about a lot of things.
Now I think that's really important. At the sets, you need to make yourself useful for them, and they don't really want to give you a checklist of stuff. They'd rather have you come up and say, "Hi, I can do this, this, and this." Hey, maybe you know how to do POs. Maybe I can help with the bookkeeping. You can help with the petty cash. But you need to know those forms and things like that, and which are not hard. But you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't know what they are. The AD may need a lot of help with getting POs, purchase orders. If you don't know what that is, that's a purchase order is when you ask for something to be spent. No money on a set is spent without a purchase order, none. So being close to the money is always good. So again, train yourself. It's a great.
Yeah, and it's great that they get to cut their teeth on our micro budget or our student film agreement or our short film agreement, because once you step up a little higher, the paperwork does get much more in depth. I recently directed an animated series, and I helped the filmmakers with their paperwork, and they were singer-songwriters who had never done it before. I had never done that paperwork, and I ended up doing a lot. Luckily, I have an admin background because, this face isn't famous. So my day job was in the corporate realm. And so I was able to do graphics for them, create PDF files. I mean, all of these little things that you might take for granted. And I know you guys get a great discount on Adobe products. The more that you bring to the table, the quicker you're going to work in this industry.
And if you've made your film here, if you've made a couple of films and you've worked here in the Nashville area and you're off and you say, okay, I'm out of school, what am I going to do? I'm going to stay around here because I got an opportunity to do this, and somebody comes up and pitches you something, or you're working on something and somebody goes, well, what do we do? There's a question about this with the union, and you go, well, actually, I have a union rep at the Nashville office, Quandra Johnson. I'll call her. You already have a rep because you've already worked with her. She knows who you are. You're in the system. So just remember these things.
Yeah, and believe it or not all the film schools bring us in, but MTSU always does, and I commend you for that.
Well, I think the students have a lot of talent here, and
Oh, yeah.
don't hide it under a bushel.
I know you brought like general respect and like knowing what craft services are and things like that. On all the short film projects or like the student projects I've worked on, people are always like hesitant to bring in SAG because of like they're like they just don't know like how easy it could be, or just like what any hurdles that might be overcome. But when you are on a short film or a student film or anything of the sort, what are some of the, I guess, like examples of like the worst case scenarios, like as far as, like you kind of talked about what
Pitfalls.
SAG-AFTRA, like expects, but like what are some things like student filmmakers or short filmmakers or anyone who's working first time, what are some good examples of things we should be absolutely aware of when it comes to
Working with minors, working with children, just knowing when they're supposed to have set teachers, knowing when they're supposed to have breaks, knowing that they have to be off the set at a certain time. You cannot go over that time because then you as the producer, filmmaker will get in trouble. So just knowing more about minors, overtime, and what else do you think?
Well, I was going to come from a different point of view. For you in particular, the one reason that I say yes to student films is for the content. I want it for my reel. That's what I'm here for. I want to work with you, and part of my pay it forward as a human being and as a union member is to work with the up-and-coming stars. I personally, throughout my career, I come across different talents behind the camera, and my hope is that maybe one of those is going to take me along with them as they create the next project and the next project and the next project. But definitely the content. I worked on a short film that I tend to do comedy quite a bit, and I never got the content. I never got a copy of the film, and we tried to get it, but we could never get it. And that's gold. That's gold and platinum for us because we want to put that in our demo reel, and we have to keep our demo reels fresh. So I'm coming from that point of view. Do you have something else?
Nope, that's good. Because that's our payment, is a good, clean copy of our performance.
One question like regarding like performers on the film side, like what does an actor like need to join the union? Like what do they need to have done in order to then be able to join?
So that's the catch-22 that I was talking about. If you get an agent, which you're going to need as a performer, and then your agent, we live in a right-to-work state, so that's another topic, but your agent sends you on a job, you book the job. You're non-union. it's a union job. So I'm not so sure they're using Taft-Hartley very much anymore. I know it does get utilized. So you basically can come onto the project, and depending on what contract it is, because I think it's only the micro budget that you don't get eligible.
Yeah, micro budget, you don't get eligibility. Student, you have to be a principal on 3 student projects and do orientation. It's one other one that you don't get eligibility on, but everything else, if you're a principal on at least 1 production or done 3 backgrounds? I think
3
it's
backgrounds.
Yeah,
yeah,
3 background.
Then you become eligible.
But only on a union project.
Yeah, and the union will actually send you a letter of eligibility. And so you'll know.
And, well, the other thing is, we're not a background state, so doing
Right.
background here is not gonna make you eligible, but if you did background in like LA, New York, that will make you eligible.
On a film, on a commercial. If
Yeah,
it's a
on a
SAG commercial, they do have background coverage nationwide. So if you do 3 backgrounds on a qualified commercial, on a SAG commercial,
Yeah.
you can qualify for that.
And SAG after background, it's not about, it's pretty good pay for, just being in the background.
So, like we said earlier, we filed as a micro budget, right? And so, but it is a student production, we're doing it for a class.
Mhm.
Should we maybe is there a critical distinction between micro budget and student, or for our case, or because you said one of them will get, you said one of them would get an actor eligibility and one wouldn't, the micro budget won't get you eligibility,
Right.
the student one will.
So it's for the non-union actors, they don't get eligibility to join the union.
Right.
I think you're fine with the micro budget for now. I wouldn't push forward if you don't have to. If your budget is 0, you're good at the micro budget.
Okay, but say, just as a favor to some of the actors who are non-union on the film, could I resubmit as a student project and get them one of those 3 credits towards the,
Yeah, yeah, you can, yeah.
cool.
And when we say principal, speaking a line, basically, on film, that's what a principal actor is.
I'm going to get one back here. That's good. I like that.
Is there a different contract for voiceover or sort of the process? We have animation majors, getting a SAG actor to do voiceover for a potential animated short or something.
Yeah, there are, contracts for animation, contracts for voiceover. Like I said, that's going into more difficult levels of paperwork and budgets and all that stuff. So, if you want to talk further about that, I can give you my card.
I would highly suggest that, because if you're going into an animation project and let's say you're doing a demo for it, you definitely want to talk to Quandra and come in on a lower level. It's suggested when you're getting started, come in on the lower level contracts. They can always grow. But when you go into a higher contract, there's no going backwards.
Does the student contract cover an animated film, or what's the process of getting voiceover? Because they have student animations, right? We have our capstone students creating short animated films. Would they cover under the student contract, or does that need to be the animation contract?
That's a good question.
I think that would be under the animation. I think student is just live action.
And again, it's related to the budget,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And that's a really good question, and something maybe we should take up. That there are now student animation films being made, by students. And
Could use voiceovers, right?
Well, I'm on the National Low Budget Committee. I think I should try and remember that and bring that up in a meeting. Maybe we could address that and develop or come up with something that says, okay, we will piggyback this onto the student agreement, and as long as it's being made by a student, yes, you can use our members in a voiceover capacity.
Yeah, and I didn't realize you were on that national committee. You'd be surprised, even celebrities, like even on the negotiating committee, there were quite a few celebrities on that committee who give their service to our union. You had a question right here.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot how I worded it.
You want to, I have another one back here. Go ahead.
Yeah, what is the, rule for, in terms of like qualifying as a principal member? Say somebody has a line in a script and it gets cut, like they have one or two lines, are they no longer, like is it judged off of the production script or the final cut of the film? In terms of whether or not you're a principal member?
The production script.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
If you shot it,
yeah.
even if it didn't end up in the film, you're still in the residual stream for later.
Awesome.
Okay, you kind of talked about how Tennessee is a non-background as far as getting qualified. Does, like, eligibility for actors and becoming part of the guild, does that automatically, like, if they became background, like, in LA or New York or something, does that still qualify them for being in the guild if they are in, like, Tennessee or something like that?
Yes.
And, okay, and I'm personally unfamiliar with like where eligibility is, as far as like if you are eligible based off of background or anything like that. But like, does like once you're in the guild, you could be a guild member and it applies to all types of roles, or is it just for like specific? Like I know you do like voice actors and commercial work, so does that apply to like everything? Like is it?
It applies to everything. Once you're in the union, you are protected under every one of our contracts, should you be lucky enough to get to work it.
So if
Yeah.
people were like a voice actor or background actor and they become part of the union, they can also use that to have a principal role in something else.
Yeah.
So you said podcasts were kind of new. Is there a micro budget for audio dramas?
That I would have to look into. There's a lot of paperwork and stuff they're still going through with that, so I would have to look into that for you. Yeah.
Y'all mentioned earlier you had to like have an agent or something be part of the Screen Actors Guild, is that correct?
Well, it's separate from the union, but there's a breakdown that goes out every day that we as actors, I'm a member of Actors Access, there's casting networks, there's different tools that we utilize where we can submit ourselves. But if you have an agent, it's better because the agent basically has relationships with different casting directors. They get to see everything usually way before we do. And then just yesterday, there was something that an insider sent to me, and then I turned around and I sent it to my agent, and my agent said, "We've already submitted you." So because a lot of times there are things that a movie that's coming to Nashville and Memphis, and they're casting the principals out in Los Angeles and in New York. And we're like, hello, we're right here. And so we're constantly, I hate to use the word fighting, but we're fighting for air to be like, the talent is already here. You can look at us because, and I will say, I've been here for a while, and I left LA, came here for music, and when I came here and I got to see the pool of actors that are right here, the talent is much more dense than what I experienced in Los Angeles. Sure, there's 80,000 members out there. We have, 1,600 right here in our local, but there's 48,000 in the middle of the country that also And that was something we dealt with negotiations, dealing with geographic discrimination. So it's a real thing. And as filmmakers, you know, Hollywood and New York is not for everybody. I mean, I'm born and raised there, and I don't want to go back. So it's a tough place. The businesses, you know, you just have to keep going and be persistent and be willing to do what you want to do because you love it and you must do it.
And when she says geographic discrimination, here's an example. I'll get a call for, just say me, I'm not saying I get all these calls all the time, but I will get a call for a role that's got 3 scenes in it. And so I'll read them, and, you know, if I get cast, I would get $1,000 a day, which is our regular, that's what you would get. Well, if they don't like me, and they don't like anybody else they see in the Southeast, they'll make a call to Hollywood or New York, and they will offer those actors $1,500 a day to come and do the same work. So we constantly fight that battle because for some reason, and we have guys here that they're fantastic. There are guys that you see in movies and you go, God, I watch this guy on movie and TV shows all the time. He is so good. Well, he's from Atlanta, but he has to constantly fight to be paid. I mean, he'll be a series regular, okay? We had guys on Nashville, our friends, who were series regulars. One of them was Raina's manager, so he was in all kinds of episodes. The other one was Juliet's manager. They were in all kinds of episodes, but were they paid series regular money? No, they were paid as a day player. Every time they worked, they paid them as a day player, even though they were part of the cast and were in almost every single episode. And we constantly have to fight that battle, not just here, but in Atlanta, which, you know, Atlanta now, man, Atlanta is, there's Hollywood and there's Atlanta for film. Those are the 2 big dogs, and there is no doubt about it. And, I mean, if you want to get in the business, you want to get a job as a PA, and you want to start out, you move to Atlanta, and you're any good at all, they're going to hire you to be on a set, okay? And hopefully that's going to happen here fairly soon, because we have some really good incentives. And anyway, that's what she means by geographic.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember correctly, I think a series regular starts at around $30,000 an episode or something like that.
No, it's more along the lines of 5 to 7, depending on the role. Like they've negotiated the guest star will start $30,000, but a series regular, what you'll get $7,000 a week with a 10-week guarantee. So that means you're guaranteed to be paid $70,000 for the season. And that's something else that we're fighting against now, because it used to be you shot 23 episodes for a season. So if you're making $7,000 and you got a 20 episode guarantee, cool. You're good. You know, you're making 140 grand in Hollywood, you're making money. And this is what Hollywood's fighting against now. Now, and I blame the British for this, that seasons now are 12 episodes long or 8 episode seasons now for things. And when they would sign you to these, they would sign you to an exclusive contract saying, you are our actor. You can't appear in another television show. Well, if you're only doing 8 episodes, even if you're making $10,000 an episode and you're living in Hollywood, it's hard to make a go on 80 grand, especially if you're married and you got a wife and kids. And we had to go to the mat in negotiations and fight with these guys and say, if you're only going to shoot 8 episodes, that's a lot of time that actor has to sit there out of work. You have to let them work on other things if they get these jobs. And they fought us on it, but eventually we won. But they're greedy. And I'm sorry, but that's...
Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, on the negotiating committee, there was a particular series regular who, she just kept saying, I just want to be able to buy a house. And I was stunned when she said that, because I'm thinking, I have a house. You don't have a house? And I'm not a series regular,
She's
but
on Abbott Elementary. I'm
yes,
saying-
I wasn't going to say that.
That's, you know, I mean, that's a big damn show. It's winning a whole lot of awards right now. It's a really good show. And living out there. And it's almost that way here. You almost can't buy a house around here now for. I couldn't
Yes,
buy
ma'am.
my own house.
I was gonna say, you all brought it up with Atlanta. Do you all partner with them often? Because I know, like, sometimes, with background being, unable to be eligible through Nashville, if you went to Atlanta, which is kind of the closest, do you all do partnerships with them if you, like, went back and forth? It's only like a 3-hour drive.
Oh, yeah, I built my career working in Atlanta.
Yeah, but Atlanta's not a background zone.
It's not a background
Yeah,
zone.
most
No.
of the southeast is
If
not.
it's a right to work state,
Yeah.
it's not a background
So
zone.
anywhere in the southeast is not background.
No, and we talked about that during negotiations. There were many who wanted to make the entire country background, and there was a fear that we would lose all the jobs within the country because of the need for background. So it didn't fly.
It's complicated.
It is.
As an actor, is there any, like, red flags or things that we just need to look out for, like, as we start, like, looking for the backgrounds and smaller stuff as a non-union, actor?
Ooh. I would say the first thing is that it's non-union. And that's tough because, again, there's the catch-22. Just getting started, student film work. I did student film work in LA with the AFM or AFI film. As long as there is a partnership, usually, and I'm thinking from the non-union perspective, talk to your fellow actors, do research when you can see who is in charge of the project, because usually there's a list of names. Go on IMDb, look them up, see if they've done anything, because, you know, just see if they've got some experience under their belt.
If any of your friends have worked for them before on something previous, because there are a lot of good non-union people out there too. Okay, there just are, and they're very talented too, and you just have to be. If it doesn't feel right, go with your gut.
Yeah,
I mean, that's if you're an actor, you're supposed to be open emotionally and be able to kind of read signals. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, or not the right one for you anyway.
One of the things that I noticed when I came out here too is that there's so much content being created. Create your own content.
That's where that micro budget came from. Was the need.
I mean-
actors, we were complaining about. We wanted to create our own content that we could use our friends in, and maybe use some of that for our reels. So that's where the micro budget came from, because we got tired of jumping through the hoops, and everybody started complaining loud enough that the union went, okay, all right, we'll fix it for you guys.
And here you are sitting in a room filled with filmmakers.
Right.
So, and you're a theater major. Yeah, I would get to know as many people in this room.
Meet these guys.
Yeah.
Meet you all meet each other.
Another one was, as far as, I know you mentioned Actors Access, which is very usable. How do you all feel about backstage? Because I know, it's iffy.
I'm with you 100% on that. I, right now, belong to Backstage and get their breakdowns every day. The one thing that, for me, that is good that I like is when a Backstage thing comes in, it immediately, it's got right at the top, if it's union or non-union. So I can just skip all the non-union ones. That drives me a little bit crazy about Actors Access, which is my favorite. I like Actors Access because they don't nickel and dime you to death. You don't have to have a membership, but if you see something you really want to apply to, where you can send them not only your resume but your reel, and they only charge you $5 to do it. I will do that all day long. $5 for a chance to throw my name in that bucket without having to drive to Atlanta or making all these phone calls to agents and try. I'm in on that. But backstage, some of the stuff's pretty sketchy. You never know what it's going to be, you know, and weird. And Actors Access, it's pretty much going to be movies and television and some theater. And backstage is, you know, a lot of photography, a lot of, yeah, we're going to do this thing for Instagram on spec and blah, blah, blah. And and they charge you. That's the difference between what was the other big one you said?
Casting networks.
Casting network. I hate casting networks.
I don't use it.
Nickel and dime
Yeah.
you to death as an actor. Before you realize it, you're paying them $200 a year just so you can put your picture up. And no, that's not cool.
Yeah, and as SAG-AFTRA members, we do get a 20% discount for Actors Access, which, you know, $2 here and $2 there and $2 here for submissions. I try to submit my category. There's not something there necessarily every day. Please write content for women. I mean, get real. We are more than 50% of the population. Please write for us. We're the ones spending money too. It's like, it just amazes me that 13% of the content out there are female characters, and then that's broken down into, you know, black women, white women, Asian women, you know, and then the age. So by the time it gets to my category, there's this minute amount of parts. And, you know, I've been training for years. I'm ready to bite my teeth into something really good. I mean, I did a project with professor over there, Ali Sultan, who's a recent Emmy winner. I love it. And let me tell you, they put a project together where I really got to sing. I got to sing, and I was the villain, baby. And there's comedy and tragedy in it. And, you know, get creative. Not everybody is 20-something. There's a big world out there.
And it's always more fun to be the villain or the weird best friend than it is to be the ingenue.
It's the best part.
Almost always. And Carla and I have to go home. We haven't talked about this, but we have to go home today and we have to vote for who's going to win the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Because we got to watch all that stuff and we get to vote on it. And that happens Saturday night. So.
Yes, one more. Are there any?
So it's mine.
Are there any websites that you recommend that do background casting in Nashville? Because I haven't been able to find any. There are some in other cities, but not straight just Nashville.
What was the name of that one? There is one. I'll think of it. Because, yeah, I was sitting at, they pay like $8.50 an hour or something like that. Yeah.
Probably more now.
It might be 10 or you'd be surprised though. They'll pay as little as possible, again, non-union.
I know you're talking about, like, with, as far as like the strikes, you kind of, you won't work on projects that weren't aligned with, like DGA or anything like that. But as far as smaller projects, is it a red flag if a project, if the only guild they're working with is SAG? Or is it better if there are many guilds or unions as possible working on a project? Especially if it's like a small.
Around here, you're probably just going to get SAG-AFTRA. You're probably not going to get a lot of DGA and WGA guys. Those, and IATSE, just
Teamsters
for
maybe on
the
the
level you guys
drivers,
are at, it's SAG-AFTRA would be the one union you would probably come across. But IATSE's, you know what? IATSE are the international theatrical stagehands. Whether they say stagehands, but they cover all the people behind the cameras on a film set. They're all IATSE, the grips and stuff.
And there's so many
getting ready to
different
go into negotiations
IATSE.
in
Yeah,
March.
they're going in the beginning of March.
I'm
Yeah.
a local 700 member.
There you go.
IATSE, but
There
I
you
don't
go.
use it here, but I'm a lifetime member. Like, once you join the union, you can deactivate. And if I ever quit teaching, I can move to LA, reactivate, start paying dues and edit union work. But
And here's a little IOTC Middle Tennessee trivia for you. We have a guy here who works sound. He's worked sound all his life. He's a sound man. He now he works sound for the Coen brothers on all their projects, and he has been nominated for 3 Academy Awards and won 2 BAFTAs. And he lives here in Nashville. And people go, "Oh, any famous people here?" Well, that's pretty darn famous to me, because whenever I'm doing a panel or something with Peter, he never brings that up, but I always do, because I want people to know that I know this guy.
And he's the business manager for
he's the business manager.
492, I think it is.
and his sister owns the Bluebird.
And his sister owns the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a small, small world.
For directors and stuff, can we go through SAG to help us find background actors as well if we're looking for background actors?
The chances of our members doing background is probably slim and none, because they're looking to do projects where they're going to speak and then they can use it for their reel. So background, I would probably suggest utilizing, we were talking about putting together a casting page with Allie Sultan, and then SAG-AFTRA, we're working on that as well, just for our members. But yeah, background, no.
Okay, just again, because I'm a little unfamiliar with how, like, unions, that they build works. And so you could have, like, on any project, I guess, have SAG actors, especially for, like, principal roles, and then have non-union actors also on that project.
Yeah. It's just paperwork that you have to do for the non-union actors, so that they can be into our system, and that once they start doing more and more projects, it will trigger for eligibility. Yeah.
And for every project from the SAG ultra low budget film contract down to the micro budget are the ones that can use mixed casts.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. For clarification, you can, as a non-union, still apply for things that SAG is doing?
Absolutely, that's the only way you can get membership,
Yeah.
is to get on a set and get a job on a SAG project. I got mine on a commercial. That's how I got my SAG card, and on a chewing tobacco commercial. That's how long ago that was. And, I was a non-union actor, but it was a union spot, and I booked the job, and my agent called me up and said, you can join the union now. I went, what? What? So I did it, and it was kind of a regional spot. It was a pretty good spot, and I was thinking about joining the union, and then all of a sudden one day I get this letter in the mailbox that says, you now have health insurance. And I went, what? Where did I get health insurance from? And I called, and they went, well, you did that spot, and you made more money than it takes to qualify. Now you have health insurance. And then I went, shit, I think I might
Commercials
join this.
rule.
This is pretty cool.
I feel like I kind of know the answer to this because you guys said there's not a ton of collaboration between unions, but as like a writer or director, will that help you at all if you work on a SAG production in terms of getting union membership in other guilds? Like, if you
I would say it kind of goes along with the question, when you look people up and you see what have they worked on, it kind of gives you an idea. But other than that, not a whole lot of collaboration, no.
But I would say one thing that if you're the guy you're hiring to do your project, one of the things from hiring this guy, you're going to get the union bug. You know what that is? The little SAG-AFTRA guy at the end that you can put at the end of your film. And if your film is really good and you go, we should submit this thing to some film festivals, you can submit that thing and they'll watch it, and if they watch it all the way to the end, they're like, oh my God, these guys use a SAG after, well, no wonder it's good. Let's put this in the festival. It can't hurt.
And then if you use
Cannot hurt.
you use our actors in one of our contracts, then you're eligible for our film festival.
Which we're going to get back off the ground again. COVID kind of drove it down, but we do a little thing here in Nashville, Tennessee and Kentucky. Everybody that's in our jurisdictional local, any student that makes a film using one of our actors, you're automatically entered in our film festival. At the end of the year, we're going to have a screening somewhere, probably here in Nashville since it's more central than anywhere else. And you can come and see your work along with the work of your colleagues from other schools. Our last one, we had submissions from 5 or 6 different film schools here in Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, we need to bring that back up.
Get a
COVID
swag
kind of
bag.
put that one. Yeah, you get some swag, some fun stuff.
MTSU represented at that film.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure, we gotta make some movies, get them in there.
No, you're just twirling?
Oh, yeah, I'm just rolling.
Okay.
Oh, good questions, guys, really.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's no stupid questions, so anything you want to ask, I mean, we're here.
Second question, in a weird kind of conjunction, I'm doing a student project that's also for a commercial promo piece. If I was to use a SAG actor for a voiceover, what sort of paperwork would I fill out for that?
I would have to see if that's gonna fall under the student, or if you're gonna have to do a voiceover, or you said it's a commercial.
Yeah, it's for one of the majors here on MTSU.
Yeah, you might have to go through the commercials department, so it's different agreements that could fall under, so I'll give my card and just email me, and I'll figure it out for you.
Sorry, Megan. I've seen things like kind of reverse of when people want just non-union because they're afraid of trying to figure out union stuff. I've seen also things where they'll say something like SAG, like when they're looking for actors, they'll say SAG only or union only, even if it's a very small project, and they're very strict about that. But I've never understood why that might be. Do you have an idea of like why a small project might just be SAG?
No, I have no idea.
I would say that's unusual. I've never seen that before. There are, again, that's the commercials contracts where SAG-AFTRA gets priority. We don't really have that. That person might just be smarter knowing that we're better.
I have no idea.
With doing Nashville, like once you make it and you've done all the eligibility, is there a lot of diversity when it comes to the Black women being affiliated with Nashville? Because I know that it's more.
It's okay, you can say it. I'm a woman of color too. I mean, I'm Hispanic, so I understand.
For the diversity question, honestly, no, it's not, but we are working on that. We're working with the International Black Film Festival in Nashville. We're making some connections with the new Entertainment Commission to start to have more diversity, networking events, kind of like actor workshops and stuff like that. So those type of things are in the works. But as of right now, it is lacking just being a woman of color. I know it's lacking, but we're working on it.
It's lacking being a woman, and it's lacking being a woman of color. So we just have to keep pushing forward. It is what it is. I love and hate that saying all at the same time.
But our union offers incentives to filmmakers to use any minorities and women and people of color. Well, obviously, would come under that as well. And you get a break on,
And you as students for the diversity, if you want to reach out, you have ideas, I mean, we can sit down, we can work on them, we can start to push them out to our members, and it would be like MTSU and SAG working together to work on the diversity issue.
Be a trailblazer. That's what Mike and I have done for years. We have blazed trails to work with students, and then what happens is we get duplicated at other locals. Mike came up with the film festival idea for students, and I believe it's been duplicated.
Wow, it's now union policy that any local that wants to use it goes by our model that we wrote. So, and Carla and I have always been under that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So when we have an idea, sometimes we just kind of do it and see what happens. And if they say you can't do that, then we say, oh, we're sorry. But most of the time, somebody will go, well, we should have been doing this all along, and then the conversation gets changed.
I mean, I'll be honest, being raised in LA and getting my membership out there, I was not involved with the union out there because of the freeway system, because basically you live on the freeway out there. Coming here, I came to get the Nashville sound in my vocals, and then discovered, oh my goodness, there's an AFTRA office here. This was before we were merged. And then the next thing I found out, there was a film community. And then the next thing, it was like I ended up staying for not just the music but it was the quality of life that kept me here. So it's like my mom always taught us to outline when we colored. Don't go outside the lines. But in this business, we have to color outside. We have to push the, jump over the hurdles, push the hurdles down, recreate. If there's something that you want to do it. Figure it out. Because, who knew that reality television would come out of a commercial strike, basically? We went on strike and reality became, because we were on strike for a while. So who knows? No. But now reality wants to come under our union. So, and the same thing with influencers. Now they're looking at representing influencers. So eventually everybody you work with is going to be under our banner. So you might as well.
Do what you got to do to get your foot in the door. Always do work background. Be a PA. Do what you got. You got to get your foot in the door before anything else. And I just sitting here, thought about this while you were looking at me. My first film background role was in Tom's film Running Mates or The Children of the Winter.
Running Mates.
It ended up being Running Mates.
It was originally Children of the Winter.
Children of the Winter.
Mates, yeah.
And my wife and I did a day of background on that film, and I think that was the first time we were ever on. I'd done a couple local car commercials and crap like that, but I'd never been in a feature film.
Were you union?
Yeah, it was
SAG
production. A lot of actors were. Their first was Peter Curlin's first.
Yeah, Peter worked on that, and people who are still friends of mine.
Yeah,
a bunch of us theater guys.
A lot of people first jobs, And
a lot of people. Hugh Sinclair.
Yeah.
I came to town and
he was a major.
I've been on the road doing theater somewhere, and we're keeping our stuff in somebody's apartment here, and we came through, and we're going to stay here for a couple weeks between jobs. And one of our friends who had gotten a part in that,
right.
You guys are here? God, I'm shooting this film, and they need people to be in the background. And we went, really? Okay, we'll do that.
And Denise Hicks, it was her first role.
So you see.
So I have another question here.
Yeah, last question. As far as big film cities like LA, New York, and Atlanta, Atlanta's grown a lot. But just from even the past maybe couple of years, even through COVID, it seems that Nashville's growing a lot. Do you see it being one of the next big film cities?
We have been on the precipice of being a bigger film community for a very long time. It has been a roller coaster ride. And it usually has to do with politics. It is really important that we elect people who are film friendly and understand that this is a business and that there are people in our community who want to live and work right here in the beautiful state of Tennessee. Our incentives, I don't understand our current incentives. I've asked for a Incentives 101 workshop to be given to our membership so that we can understand them. Do you understand? Do you understand them? Yeah, it is. Have you? I know you had the Film Commission come in.
They've just kind of enacted them. Basically, you get about 25% back, so it's a significant amount of money. But the money has to be spent in Tennessee on the production, but any aspect of the production.
But you have to be big enough to pay franchise excise tax.
Yeah, and so you say that, you know, it's my big bugaboo is they always go after the big productions versus the smaller productions. Right. And documentaries are completely ignored, and which is too bad. But essentially, if a company comes in, they can do their film here, they can get 25% off of money that's spent in the state. Whether for any sort of money, it can be anything from you know, actors to tech to business side and so forth. So, but you have to submit the money. You have to submit the budget ahead of time and get it approved, and then you spend it, and they send you the check back. But you know, if it's 25%, you know, that's pretty significant to get. So for an investor, you might say, well, you know, we have a $1 million budget. We're going to spend it all here, and you're going to get $250,000 back once the production is finished. Mm-hmm. And so you might say to your investors, so you know, there's a floor of you won't lose more than a quarter of your money, which is not a bad pitch. So, and
two things I have. Atlanta's really big because they have a great film incentive, and it doesn't have a cap.
I was just going to say that.
They are discussing.
Oh, I thought it passed.
Did it pass?
It passed.
There's a
Things are about to change in Georgia.
So that work has got to go somewhere. Hopefully it will come here. And I'm going to give you another inside tip that I should have given you before because they're part of our local. If you're looking for a place to catch on and get on a film set, look north. Kentucky is banging, man. Kentucky has got some work going on. They have got a good incentive package, and
they've got over, I think, 30 projects right now that are going on up in Kentucky, and that's our jurisdiction as well.
So Louisville seems to more or less be the hub of where the work's coming out of.
There's a lot of people in Louisville. It's a very active film community, very active.
And so Kentucky is a great opportunity, just kind of hanging up there right there, and they're going to be looking for people to work on these sets.
You could buy a house in Kentucky.
You can buy a house in Kentucky.
Yeah, Louisville's kind of like Nashville was in 1980 or 1970.
How late does this class go?
Yeah, we're about done in a second.
Oh, okay. I wanted to get a picture. So you guys stay in your seats and just kind of gather, and we'll stand in front.
Why don't you get in the middle and everybody kind of crowd around them, and I'll.
Thank you for your questions.
Yeah,